Did you ever wonder where Walt Disney once lived? Like, what was his first address in LA? Lucky for you, he had a few, and I'm going to show you where you can still go and see him, here at Jake at the Park. I just turned onto Kingswell Avenue. This street in particular, I think is really cool because not only is this the very start of our tour, the very beginning of Walt Disney coming out to Los Angeles, but there are actually two houses that Walt stayed at while he was here. Starting with 4406 Kingswell Avenue. This was his aunt and uncle's house where Walt first lived after leaving Missouri at just 21 years old. It was in their garage where Walt constructed an animation stand, which would completely jumpstart his career in Hollywood. I made a whole video all about the history of this famous garage and where you can still go and see it today. So if you want to learn more, check out the link in the description below. After Walt decided to leave his uncle's house, him and Roy moved right over here. It was the fall of 1923 and the home was just newly built. With it being divided into two units, it was a simple move across the street for both Walt and his brother and now business partner Roy. For the next 2 years, the two continued laying down the groundwork for their Disney Brothers cartoon studio. They stayed here until around July 1925. It was actually during this time that Walt hired Lillian Bounds as an ink and paint artist, and shortly thereafter, he married her. After leaving Kingswell, my next stop was the first place where Walt and Lillian had lived together shortly after being married, 4637 Melbourne Avenue. This apartment's only half a mile down the street. It took just over a minute, which is pretty much the same amount of time they were there for. 4 months later, they moved out of their alley view apartment to somewhere else. We're on to the next. Let's see if we can get there in under 2 minutes. So, it's a nursery? Well, not originally. See, Walt and his wife moved here into a larger apartment complex at 1307 North Commonwealth Avenue. Unfortunately, the building was demolished in 1963 and, yeah, is now a nursery. They stayed here for just a year before moving yet again, but this time, it was a move into their first house. Excuse me. I had a question. Is this Walt's house? Yeah. Oh my gosh. After the successful launch of Oswald the Lucky Rabbit series, it was here on Lyric Avenue where Walt and Lillian built matching homes right next to Roy and his wife, Edna. Check out the stained glass. This was like Walt and Lillian's first real home. And on top of it, Walt's brother Roy lived right next door. It'd be pretty neat to have your brother living right next to you with his wife. Although after a while, you get a little testy. But that never was an issue for the Disney Brothers. They stayed there for 6 years until 1932. To think that Walt used to come down those stairs and into the garage, head to work at the studio, or maybe he'd go and say hello to Roy and Edna right next door. It was a whole family affair all on the street. It's kind of surreal. There's something about Lyric Avenue that just stands out. All right, on to the next. So as we make our way up the hill to the last place that Walt Disney lived in Los Feliz, you could definitely tell that these are a lot nicer homes, larger. There's some that are on huge lots, multi-story. Los Feliz, it has a lot of variety as far as if you want something small or if you want an old mansion. And I have a feeling this is exactly what we're gonna see, is an old mansion. So as you are making your way through these curvy turns in Los Feliz, that's my point. If you are not from here, make sure that you take your time, don't speed, because it could be just a little dangerous. Through some windy turns and narrow streets, I finally arrived at 4053 Walking Way, the final home of Walt Disney in the Los Feliz neighborhood. After the success of Mickey Mouse and receiving his first Oscar, Walt set out to construct this beautiful English and French-style mansion for Lillian and his soon-to-be-born baby girl, Diane. This 6,300 square foot property would cost $50,000 to build and was completed by architect Frank Crowhurst in just 2 months. was a nice cobblestone driveway surrounded by those brick walls. I mean, they had a swimming pool, they had a movie theater, they had a huge backyard. I mean, it was like, these were amenities.
It was also during his 18 years here that Walt came up with an idea one Saturday afternoon while in Griffith Park with his 2 daughters. That little idea was Disneyland.
Walt Disney and his family lived here from 1932 to 1950. Judging from what I can see, I mean, the house really hasn't changed that much from the outside. It still looks like an old big mansion.
A mansion that was once home to Walt Disney.